Hello. So today's my last full day before I go back to. I keep wanting to say like back to reality. I keep wanting to not say back to reality because this is my reality right now. But my little visit is coming to a close, and it feels like it hasn't been that long, but also I know it's been a few weeks. Um, and we'll just get one final word. Excuse me. One final one from this break, subsection, this intermission, this transition. Um, Earlier today, I was like, because I told you, I was like, I feel like I've been having strangely combative dreams lately, and I don't know what's going on. And then earlier today, I was like, oh, it's probably the book I was reading, because I've been devouring this book. And I got the second book. I wasn't a huge fan of how the first book ended. Like, I'm a sucker for happy endings. I'm a sucker for joy. And there were three books to write. So I guess the first one had to, whatever. But by the time I read the prologue of the second book, I was like, okay. I don't think it was an epilogue. I don't know if the first book had an epilogue, actually. It might have. But by the time I read the prologue for the second book, I was back in it. And I'm invested again. But yeah, that's probably the reason why I was having those dreams. And it was kind of interesting too, because I was never like the center of whatever. It was just like happening around me. And I was like, ew. But I'm going to do what I did last time and we're going to see what's up. Hey, Google, flip a coin, please.
You got tails.
Tails. So we're in the minor arcana again. Oh, I got to go back to the file and everything. Hey, Google, roll two d10s.
You got 6 and 1. That makes 7.
6 and 1. Now, there are only 52 minors. So we're going to the suit of majors, but we're going to give it a minor energy. What was that? 6 and 1. 61 minus 52 is 9. I believe. So 53, 50. These are not in order. Wow. Okay. 53, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 61. The Empress. I was thinking, that it'd be like the Hermit or whatever. But indeed, in fact, it was not. One second. I don't know why that song's in my head. When it's all over, I'll let you know. So, one thing I've been seeing a lot of lately, interestingly, is a lot of people being told to close the door in a very, I guess you could say, like, aggressive way. It'll be like, close my bleeping door. And it happened. I was watching a show earlier. It happened again today. Un momento. Oh, wait. 1 second, please. And so I don't know if there's anything about a door. I guess we could see. Um, there we go. I don't know why I had to like close it and open it back up, but I did. Da, 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 da. Wait. Ba, da, ba, da, ba, da, ba, ba. Wait until over, I'll let you know. There is no challenge for the Empress. Well, this is Empress red with um. Let's see. I'm gonna do it this way. And the Empress has been coming out. I feel like a lot of similar cards have been coming out. And again, well, I've been live less frequently than usual. Um, uh, parts of her after. So this is the card. It's the Empress, but with a minor arcana energy. Um, so give me a moment. What the? I'm closing a bunch of windows instead of just opening the one that I should have. I thought I would minimize window after window after window, but I never got back to the YouTube screen. So I was like, instead of minimizing all of these other windows, why don't I just bring the window that I want to the front? And maybe that's a part of the energy, you know? Maybe it isn't. Now I could do this because the Empress is the four queens. She's the energy of the four queens. So I could read the mages of I'm not necessarily pressed for time, but I'm also not necessarily trying to be on here too long. I got a puzzle to get to. I want it to be in a good space before I leave because there's at least 500 pieces still that need to be put on that puzzle. Uh, and I was charging my phone. So I'm going to split the deck. I'll shuffle it a little bit more. Oop, who was that? The Four of Coins. Now, pre Empress is the Queen of Pentacles. To me, minor Empress is like the Nine of Pentacles. So I could do the challenge, but the challenge of the Nine of Pentacles is going to be there's a chest with a certain amount of money on in it, and that's it. Uh, so again, the challenge could be something of us receiving the things that we've manifested. Nine of Cups as a card of wish fulfillment. That could be the challenge. Um, Receiving the things that we've been manifesting. Actually, I thought about that. I think it's kind of weird or strange. In some way, there are some, I don't want to say ailments, I don't want to say maladies, inconveniences. There are some inconveniences of life right now that's almost the result of things that we have been putting out into the universe, putting out into the world. But in terms of, like, let's say that ever since 2020, 2021, the queues have been like massive. And at grocery stores, at least here in the States, I think even in the UK, I think, because the last time I went to one of the like corner store type things, there were more self checkout is a thing that's happening, especially in the States. And there's a lot of people complaining about like how inconvenient it is for people to check themselves out. They're like, I don't work here, I shouldn't have to do this. And in so many scenarios, a lot of times when people asked for better, The answer was, if you want to be able to afford to live, get a real job, get another job. And so a lot of people aren't working in those roles anymore. Partnered with the fact that maybe companies are moving to some kind of semi automation, at least, to not have as many people on the payroll or whatever. But when it came to people, people said if you want to be treated with decency and respect and you want to be comfortable in life, find another job. And now that people aren't working those jobs, we're faced with the inconvenience. And it was kind of like that. Like there's a lot of things that we've sort of like put out or things that we've said. And now we're living the reality of those things, you know? In a way. Um, and anyway, too, I think, when we ask for things, when we manifest things, again, some things are a more complete package than we may think. And in order for one thing to be, something else must also be. And it's the something else must also be that kind of might catch us up sometimes. And so maybe that's part of this challenge of receiving, or it's part of, it's not us having to eat our words, but us almost in a way having to live by them, but probably in a way that we didn't expect. What did we expect? What do we expect? I don't know. But I just thought, I've been thinking about that for a minute. There's a lot of irritation and frustration, but when there was somebody there, like, we didn't value them largely, not as individuals. And again, like, it seems like, especially here, people aren't as willing to just work their lives away for pennies and peanuts anymore. And I don't know, I guess it's weird to me, but I had another thought. I don't know. Anyway, ooh, that's kind of thick. Oh well. This is going to be the underlying. I'm going to run through these: air, earth, fire, water. And I'm going to type it so I don't forget. Air, earth, fire, water. And I'm going to cut this. Air is temperance. Earth is the two of chalices. Oops. With a face down card that I accidentally knocked down. Fire is the emperor. And water is the seven of swords. It's interesting that masculine, air, and fire came out with major arcana cards. The king of swords is at the bottom of the deck. This is the one that tests our integrity and logic, the archmage of air. So I'm gonna forgive me. I don't. I feel like, honestly, I feel like in a lot of ways, as I'd say humanity. I was gonna say like the quote unquote spiritual collective, but like literally everybody is talking about manifestation. Like literally everybody's talking about like vibration. I manifested this. We're manifesting that, and I feel like on one hand, Not that we've been done a disservice, but I don't know if we fully understand, largely collectively, what it means to be all of the things that we declare ourselves to be. You know what I mean? And I feel like in our short sightedness and in our, through the lens of our desire, there are specific pathways that we see when we speak something, when we declare something. And again, going back to the thing with long cues now, we don't always see, anticipate, or understand what else must transpire in order for that declaration manifestation to be made true. Yeah. Hey Holly, how you doing? Enjoy your morning, question mark? Afternoon, maybe? Let me find this document. Do 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 do. I wish I could like bookmark this. Or I could write down what pages. Oh. What is this? So this is the end of the chariot. On the whispers of the weave, what is the next, what is the first step toward breaking through it with the strength at the bottom? The picture of strength. Almost noon there. I can never, oh, heading to the gym. That is one thing I am excited about. Strangely enough, being able to go to the gym when I get home. Okay. So, air. The mage of air encourages creatures to pass through her room swiftly, pausing only for a moment to offer them the benefits of telepathic bond for 10 days. She is impatient and curt. If they do not respond immediately, she withdraws the offer and requests that they depart. If all her requests are met quickly, the queen offers a dancing sword as thanks. The door in the queen's room is unlocked. She is in. And that was clarified by Temperance. Because Temperance is doing something, there's because she's preoccupied with something that is probably of importance. I mean, I guess because she's the Queen of Swords. You know what I mean? And if she's busy, she's busy. The Queen of Cups, you'll probably be able to sympathize. She'll probably be able to sympathize with you. She may put what she's on aside. The Queen of Pentacles, maybe, depending on how like important the thing she's working on is. I guess the Queen of Swords is like, don't you see I'm busy? The Queen of Wands, I feel like it depends. I feel like she could go kind of anyway. But let's look up. So we have to look up the dancing sword and telepathic bond. But this is, it's also given an energy that's very much like, so I'm going to give this 5 shuffles and then I'll pull the top and bottom. It's very much an energy that's almost like co creation. Um, but it's like co-creation if like you're cooking with someone and there are just like anything, like it could be a mechanic who's like under a vehicle or under the hood, and they're calling out tools and they're calling out things, and then like there's the assistant that gives it to them. There's a certain amount of flow, whatever is moving in the air, and temperance is giving an energy of purging. um but it's like if you slow her down, she's just going to tell you to get out the way because she's like moving. And I don't know if there's something that we're supposed to be learning as we're doing this, almost as if it is a kind of apprenticeship, or if it is like something that we go to the divine for, and the divine is like, okay, but it's one of those like, show up, watch me, see how I'm moving, see what I am doing, and we're expected to kind of just like pick it up, or not expected to pick it up, but um I don't know, there's something about maybe the importance of it. Justice, which is Libra, which is air, and the two of coins. Justice and the two of coins are clarifying this, the temperance of the queen of air. And maybe this is like treating the Empress like the Empress was also the card that came out first when we went to clarify the two of cups, and the two of cups is here for earth. I'm not surprised that the two of cups is here for earth because the energy that the two of cups came out with the last time I was live. And when the live was over, and as I was thinking about it, it was very much so, I don't know if it's like a process of embodiment, or it's a process of, it's like as something continues to unfold, and as we as the thing continues to unfold, and as we remain present and engaged when appropriate, because it's the two of cups, it's like first it was like the earth, and then it was the air, and then it was the kind of water, but fire took it, and then water. It's like it's weaving in, it's stitching in more of ourselves into the tapestry, I guess, if you could think of it that way. And so again, that's why I'm not surprised to see the two of cups here for like the earth of the Empress. But again, like this is like, I don't want to say it's delicate work, because just as she is pouring from one cup to the other, it feels like the energy is very similar in this two of coins. But in the two of coins, it's like we understand that it's something that's like up here. It's not like, yes, it's in our hands. Is it in our hands? Kind of, sort of. I usually look at how off balance the two of pentacles, the two coins or two pentacles are in the two of pentacles. You could also look at whether they're in the person's hand or not. Now, these are arguably not, but they are. So, but even if it's in our hands, it's not something that's in our hands like down here, it's up here. This is also giving me that purging energy. Like if you purge an airline, you basically like flood it with whatever. And it's interesting that it's giving me purging rather than like vacuuming. It's not giving me an of sucking the air out of the place, out of a place. in the energy of like running enough of something else into something that it forces everything else out or it effectively dilutes it to basically zero. And the thing about dilution, the thing about temperance that's really interesting is if it's a closed container, or if we're looking within a certain amount of space, um, you don't lose any of what was there. You just gain so much more of something else that it becomes effectively zero, right? Like if you have six blue marbles in a bag, like that's 100% of the marbles in that bag. But if you put in six red marbles, that's 50% of the marbles that are blue. If you put in 6 million red marbles, you effectively have zero blue marbles in the bag, even though those same six blue marbles are still in there. I think there is also an energy here. It's almost like, oh, this is an 1111. Oh, it would have been. This is a like a Roman two with alphanumeric. I don't know, 11. It's XIII. There's a 1314 here because XIV is 14, but the III is the Empress, so that would be like the Wheel of Fortune and the Empress. The Wheel of Fortune and the Empress would be this energy. Then again, there's something about the importance of what it is that is happening. There's almost an energy here with Justice in the Two of Coins, where it's like something is being taken out of our hands. Like when they say Jesus take the wheel, like this would be Jesus taking the wheel. And it feels like that's why this part of the Empress is so curt, because now she has to come in and handle something that she shouldn't. It's like the Empress should not be temperancing almost anything. And it's not that she doesn't have the ability to, it's like she shouldn't have to do it. There is an energy, and again, like this is the Empress in minor arcana energy, almost as if something is beneath her. But like more so than beneath her, it feels like it's something that we should have been able to do. Like the two pentacles were in our hands, and we're like, I don't. And then she, in this energy of justice, is basically like, let me take the pentacles, let me do this balancing for you. And that's like why the pentacles are like almost being pulled up out of his hands. Now, there, so I'm assuming there would be a part of the Empress because this is a largely collective energy. There, I'm assuming that there are some who don't need for the Empress to come in and do this for them. And that's why it's like if they can keep up. And again, bottom of the deck is the King of Swords, and the Page of Swords is right here under the King of Swords. Um, but with the King of Swords down there, overall, it's a test of our logic and integrity. And so it's like if we're able to keep up with this aspect of the Empress, there's something that she doesn't have to do for us. She can do it, of course, but I was gonna say I wonder if it's in our best interest for her to not, but I don't think it matters because it's almost like one of those at the end of the day, something needs to be done. I don't know what game of escalation has played where a major arcana energy has to come down into the minor arcana. But anyway, again, not trying to make this too long. Telepathic bond. Telepathic bond. It's like there's a line of communication that's open for 10 days. I don't know if this is a 10 day, like a 10 day intensive, like what you're supposed to learn in a semester. This aspect of Empress energy is cramming into 10 days, like an accelerated learning. Telepathic bond. You forge a telepathic link among up to 8 willing creatures of your choice within range. Physically linked, psychically, sorry. Psychically linking each creature to all the others for the duration. Creatures with intelligence scores of 2 or less aren't affected by the spell. Ooh, I feel like that was shade. I feel like that. Goodness. Until the spell ends, the targets can communicate telepathically through the bond whether or not they have a common language. The communication is possible over any distance, though it can't extend to other planes of existence. That part is important because the telepathic bond is more than just a line of communication. Because the telepathic bond has to be within the same plane of existence, this is either a temporary merging of those planes or a into another. Again, the Archmage of Air, who tests for logic and integrity, being the overall like bottom of the deck or bottom of this half of the deck, I'm not surprised. Where was the Nine of Cups? Because the Nine of Cups was that shimmering veil the last time we saw it, right? It's almost like being welcomed into the fold. On the Magicians, that show I was watching, in one of the last episodes, there's a spell that they use that's very, very similar to this telepathic bond, but it was it was created by a conductor who was going blind. I think it was a blind conductor that allowed him to communicate with the band or whatever. So it is almost given an energy of the 10-day intensive. And it's like as soon as we're not able to quickly, as it's like as soon as whatever this connection is, whatever this bond is, it is not something that is static. It is something that is very dynamic. And I feel like it's interesting because there's a dynamism to this energy, but like temperance is associated with waiting. Temperance as an energy is typically one of stillness, but it's almost like something that looks still from the outside, but it's very active on the inside. That could also be something that is so fast that it appears to be still, like that League movie or whatever, where they like captured the Flash. And I think he said like he made his heart beat so fast that like Batman thought it was still, thought he was dead because his heart had stopped beating. Anyway, she is impatient and curt. If they do not respond immediately, she withdraws the offer and requests that they depart. It's like this telepathic bond could be like largely collectively established. But it's like as soon as we fall out of whatever, then it's like it's cut off. And again, it's there's like I don't want to say there's an immediacy. I don't want to say there's an urgency. Like it could be, it could not be. It's like it doesn't matter, honestly, because this is something that the Empress has decided to give her attention to. And it doesn't matter what other people think. Queen of Pentacles, Wands, or maybe the Queen of Cups. I don't know. That's like, I don't care what other people think. I'm like, I'm the Empress. Okay. I don't go, it's one of those energies like we all have things that matter to us, that's important to us. There are things that we decide to do for whatever reason. And it's not necessarily for anybody else to be like, why are they going to the grocery store? Why are they watching TV? Why are they at the gym? Why are they eating? You know? Dancing sword. I imagine it's just a sword that can like move itself. Dancing sword 5e. I don't know why I keep closing this just to open it back up. It's a weapon. It's very rare and requires attunement. You can use a bonus action to toss the magic sword into and speak the command word. When you do so, the sword begins to hover, flies up to 30 feet, and attacks one creature of your choice within 5 feet of it. The sword uses your attack roll and ability score modifier to damage rolls. While the sword hovers, you can use a bonus action to cause it to fly up to 30 feet to another spot within 30 feet of you. As part of the same bonus action, you can cause the sword to attack one creature within 5 feet of it. So it can move 30 feet and within a range of 5 feet attack in the same bonus action. After the hovering sword attacks for the fourth time, it flies up to 30 feet and tries to return to your hand. If you have no hand free, it falls to the ground at your feet. If the sword has no unobstructed path to you, it moves as close to you as it can and then falls to the ground. It also ceases to hover if you grasp it or move more than 30 feet away from it. Cool. So it's basically what I thought it was. Um, Maybe that's this energy too. How it's like slightly out of hand. It's like slightly out of their hands. Like this is such like the energy around this is so co-creative, but this isn't it's a very co-creative energy, but it doesn't necessarily feel like one that's like, hey, like let's get like we should jam sometime. Like or like there's a super fun like it feels like there is also like an importance behind this, which is again why this facet of Empress energy is so curt and impatient. Again, it's how I am interpreting the energy. Not to say that it but it's very like the Empress is having to step down to do something that she should not be like. It's almost like if the Empress entrusts somebody with something, she entrusts them with it because she believes them competent enough to do it on their own. And so for her to have to come down and like take care of it herself, it's essentially basically like why are you here? Like why did I hire you? Why did I entrust you with this if I have to come and do it myself? Type of energy. And again, the overall challenge is a test of integrity and logic. It's not what we know, it's how we think and the integrity behind it. But yeah, the 30 feet, that the distance between her and the sword, it feels like there's this a level of coherence that we may be able to maintain as these larger things, again, like as the divine is moving in some kind of way or whatever. So I need to move on. It's already been 40 minutes. So next is Earth. And it feels like So there's this 10-day intensive, right? If we can stick with the air of the Empress for 10 days while this telepathic bond is established, while some things are merged or while we are elevated, the dancing sword is a gift. The dancing sword is an ability to, within 30 feet, however you want to extrapolate 30 feet, to go like 30 feet into the veil anytime we want, right? Because the sword is ours. We have possession of the sword after that. But again, it feels like that's more so what we learn when we are in that 10-day intensive with the air Empress rather than what is like gifted to us or bestowed upon us. It's very almost like Karate Kid in a way, where it's like we may not have necessarily realized what we were learning when we were learning it and what we were doing, but when we come away from the experience, we realize that we've been enriched and made better, stronger, more whatever for it. You know, very much that energy. Next, we go to the element of earth. I feel like we've seen this queen. I think we saw the Queen of Pentacles long before the King of Pentacles. Mage of Earth sits at the head of a long banquet table laden with food and drink. Eating this food provides the benefits of a hero's feast. The Queen is a gracious and attentive host, happy to entertain adventurers as long as they may wish to stay. If she notices a guest particularly enjoying themselves at her table, she offers them a staff of the woodlands as a present. The door to the Queen's room is unlocked. So, very stark contrast. This warm, welcoming, happy Queen compared to the impatient and curt one. And it was the Two of Cups. Now I gotta look up Hero's Feast. Now this is pre Empress energy. This is the realm of like things that the Empress likes to do and doesn't mind doing, you know. Hero's Feast. You bring forth a great feast, including magnificent food and drink. The feast takes 1 hour to consume and disappears at the end of that time, and the beneficial effects don't set in until this hour is over. A creature that partakes of the feast gains several benefits. The creature is cured of all diseases and poison, becomes immune to poison and being frightened, and makes all wisdom saving throws with advantage. Its hit point maximum also increases by 2d10, and it gains the same number of hit points. These benefits last for 20. So it cures all diseases and poisons. You become immune to poison, frightened. You are wiser and more hardy and hale. And then the Staff of the Woodlands. The Staff of the Woodlands is the one that can turn into a tree, I believe. Staff of the Woodlands. The staff can be wielded as a magic quarterstaff that grants a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. While holding it, you have +2 bonus to spell attack rolls. So both spells and physical. If you use it as a blunt weapon, it hits harder. If you hold it while you cast a spell, that's actually giving me the energy of the King of Wands and the Father of Wands from the Mystical Mondays when he was like holding the wand. Because the King of Wands, the Father of Wands, his magic was his. It wasn't one of the wand, but I guess it amplifies. So with this Two of Cups, Kirsty, hello. With this Two of Cups energy, this Two of Cups is one of like synergy. There's something that the earth of the Empress has granted us that works with us to make us more effective, both in the physical 3D and in the immaterial, intangible, spiritual on the other side of things. But it feels like the Two of Cups of this and that synergistic energy, the synergistic nature of it is because it works with us, we have to work with us. Like almost like the Queen of Wands, how the black cat is her acceptance of her ego and her shadow, like the internal circumstances, because it entwines with who we are. So if we are not at peace with who we are, or if we're not aligned with who we are, then we're not going to align with it either. Like, let's say that for someone, the staff of the woodlands plays with their assertiveness, because I can't think of another word, but it's someone who doesn't like their assertiveness. It's someone who doesn't like going against the grain. It's someone who like is very conflict avoidant and like people pleasing. And so it's like the very part of them that speaks, creates, and demands change, they don't engage with. And so they won't be able to engage the power of the gift of the staff of the woodlands. Like that's the synergistic, something of the synergistic nature of it. The staff has 10 charges for the following properties, and it regains up to 10 daily at dawn. If you expand the last charge, roll a d20. On a 1, the staff loses its property and becomes a non magical staff. So you have to basically crit fail for the magic of the staff to fade. And maybe a crit fail is to be completely out of alignment with the self. Like there's a difference between I don't like being like assertive, I don't like being pushy, and like I will never assert myself. I will be accepting of anything and everything. It doesn't matter, you know, because a one is an extreme. Things would have to go to the extreme for the magic of this, of the gift of the earth of the Empress to be permanently rendered non magical. So with it, you can cast Animal Friendship, Awaken, which I think means to like give consciousness to. Oh, nice. Awaken. After spending time tracing magical pathways within a precious gemstone, you touch a huge or smaller beast or plant. It must have an intelligence score. The target must either what? No intelligence score? Oh, it must have no intelligence score or a score of intelligence 3 or less. The target gains an intelligence of 10. The target also gains the ability to speak one language you know. If it's a plant, it gains the ability to move. And when it's not moving, it just looks like any other plant. Um, Now, what's interesting is so the gift of the kindness, the kindness of the Empress can reach that which the sternness of the Empress does not. Remember the shade of like, if a creature has intelligence 2 or less, it can't participate in that telepathic bond. Well, the staff of the woodlands can awaken that creature, give them average intelligence, and then allow them to participate in that telepathic bond. To simply awaken is to give the creature one language that is known by the one who awakens them, but language doesn't matter in the telepathic bond. And that creature is able to communicate with everyone in that bond rather than just the one who awakened it. So it also has bark skin. You can locate animals and plants, speak with animals, speak with plants, and cast Wall of Thorns. Um, you can also use an action to cast Pass Without Trace from the staff, and that uses no charges. And then it can take the form of a tree. You can use an action to plant one end of the staff in fertile earth and expend one charge to transform it into a healthy tree. The tree is 60 feet tall and has a 5-foot diameter trunk. The branches at the top spread out in a 20-foot radius. It appears ordinary but radiates a faint aura of transmutation magic. While touching the tree and using another action to speak its command word, you can return it to the form of a staff. Cool. I don't know if I'm going to finish this. So I guess something just came out face down. So top of the deck is the Ace of Chalices. Bottom of the deck is the Lovers, another major with another minor. This almost feels like an aid. The Six of Swords came out with the Two of Cups. It was face down. I just revealed it. It is, again, it plays into the synergistic energy of the gift of the Earth of the Empress. But it's kind of like what this Two of Cups was before. When we reach a certain level of internal harmony, when all of the elements of us and all of the humors and all of the everything within us come into a certain balance, there is something more. There's something that lies on the other side of us being in balance with self. And it's very much that quote of like, what if our fear, paraphrasing, what if our fear isn't that we're not good enough or not whatever enough? What if our fear is that we are more than we can imagine? The more that we can imagine is what lies on the other side of that internal conflict. And it feels like the more than what we can imagine is what the gift of the Empress, the gift of the Earth of the Empress, is helping us to see, realize like that's the point that she's helping us get to. The card that came out face down is the Knight of Coins. It's almost this like the point where we see ourselves beyond the limitations of the vessel. Cool. Next is fire. The Again, we're gonna pick this up, take it as it resonates. Let it unfold for you as it unfolds for you. The Empress energy already came on and said is working with everybody. It is there for everybody. It is working with everybody. It is present. But the Empress also said if you don't keep up, She's got stuff to do, you know, and it just is what it is. And there's no shame in anything. Again, it doesn't serve us to put ourselves and to apply unnecessary pressure to ourselves and to put ourselves in situations that are ultimately going to work to our detriment. And I think that's maybe that's a part of the intent of the King of Swords. It definitely shows up here in a way in this Two of Cups for us to know who and how we are, when and where we are. And as long as we are where we are with the right intentions, that bond will be maintained. Right? It's not necessarily one of, I must do this and do that and accomplish this other thing and be whatever. So, anyway, the Mage of Fire, Queen of Wands. There's the Mage of Chalices, the Mage of Fire. The walls of the room of the Mage of Fire are decorated with elaborate murals. She is working on a painting of a fire giant on the far wall, her elegant robe splattered with paint. Creatures who encounter the Mage of Fire can roll 1d12 and add it to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw once during the next 24 hours. If any creature gives the queen a piece of art that they have created that impresses her, she gives them a set of marvelous pigments. The door in the queen's room is unlocked. Interesting. This is a little bit like Arachne and Athena Minerva. A little bit. Not only in the sense of like art, I guess, with the a major arcana like divine energy. Uh Arachne and Minerva, Athena, I think it was Athena Minerva. Um it was more of a competition, and Athena Minerva was mad that they lost to Arachne, tore up her art, and then Arachne hanged herself, and they felt bad and turned her into a spider. So, like, all of that, not necessarily. But it is also, it doesn't necessarily play on the co creative aspect that was coming out in air because they're not creating together. This is more of an appreciation. And who's to say what impresses the Queen of Wands? I was gonna conjecture that because I was half tempted to say, like, it's not only the vision, it's also the execution. But think, I don't know, but I think even if something is executed poorly, if the vision of the artwork is extraordinary, it would still find favor with the fire of the Empress. And maybe that's important from a self point of view. Like, maybe there are things that didn't work out in our lives, and we think that because it didn't work out, that we have fallen short in the eyes of the divine or whatever. And it's like it wasn't about like how it turned out. Like, it's not always about execution, it's about intent and it's about vision. And I feel like in some way that plays into the logic and integrity that the Archmage of Air tests for. Because with logic, again, it's not what you know. It's not a test of intelligence. It's a test of logic. It's a test of reasoning. It's like how you can take all the right steps, but get an answer that's technically incorrect, but they're not testing for an answer. They're testing to see if how you reach it's like the approach was right. And maybe it's a question that has no answer. Or maybe it's a question that has no correct answer. But phew, this came out as the emperor. I don't know. A stereotypical emperor would be very, very hard to impress, but I don't think the emperor is necessary. I feel myself checking a lot of my assumptions, and I feel myself catching myself before I make any kind of declaration in this, specifically within the fire of the Empress that sits in the energy of the Emperor, because it feels like that's a lot of hearsay about who and what the fire of the Empress is. So I like almost like a lot of rumor. Some of it may be based on the truth, but it's not who the emperor is, or it's not who the empress is, the fire of the empress as that energy. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe there's like maybe the empress has a reputation of being curt and dismissive. And maybe she's like, of course I was curt and dismissive with this person or that person or these people because look at look at what they came, look at the foolishness they came to me with, thinking that they deserve something more than others when in reality they've done the very things that they accuse others of. But for some reason they think that they are above judgment and others shouldn't. Like, of course I was dismissive to this. Like, who wouldn't be? Hello? You who have done this and done that and done these other things come to me seeking retribution and vengeance or whatever when what goes around comes around. Maybe I'm just playing. I don't know. But I do find myself like checking myself a lot in this energy. I feel like I even did that kind of in the air. I didn't have to as much in the air of the Empress, but I do feel myself doing it a lot here. And I guess that's what this is, the space of the Queen of Wands. That's basically what I said about the Queen of Wands earlier. When I was like, the Queen of Swords, you're not going to tear her away from what she's working on. The Queen of Pentacles, if it's important to her, no. The Queen of Cups, maybe you can appeal to her emotionality and sentimentality. The Queen of Wands, it kind of depends. This is that it kind of depends. Marvelous pigments, typically found in 1d4 pots inside a fine wooden box with a brush weighing 1 pound in total. These pigments allow you to create three-dimensional objects by painting them in 2 dimensions. The paint flows from the brush to form the desired object as you concentrate on its image. Each pot of paint is sufficient to cover 1,000 square feet of a surface, which lets you create inanimate objects or terrain features such as a door, a pit, flowers, trees, cells, rooms, or weapons that are up to 10,000 cubic feet. It takes 10 minutes to cover 100 square feet. When you complete the painting, the object or terrain feature depicted becomes a real, non magical object. Thus, painting a door on a wall creates an actual door that can be opened to whatever is beyond. Is this the door? Did we finally get to the door? Painting a pit on a floor creates a real pit, and its depth counts against the total area of objects you can create. Nothing created by the pigments can have a value greater than 25 gold pieces. If you paint an object of greater value, such as a diamond or pile of gold, the object looks authentic, but close inspection reveals it is made from paste, bone, or some other worthless material. If you paint a form of energy, such as fire or lightning, the energy appears but dissipates as soon as you complete the painting, doing no harm to anything. Wow. I could see how that's like emperor energy because whatever is painted becomes real. Yeah. Through it, we the ability to communicate 30 feet under the veil. Who knows how deep it is? And it feels like everything is building upon that to the point where by the you create something, if you create anything more than that, real, but upon closer inspection, it will be made worthless. It could be mine. I don't know what's going on. Ooh, it is what it is. And this is a message warning against greed, warning against excess. You can create up to 25 gold, which is like it's a fairly significant value. And so it's an energy of like a need being met, wanting for nothing, but it is not an ability, it is not a power that works well with greed. And it feels like that is also part of this emperor energy. Where it's like if there was someone who was granted that, but then was deemed greedy, they would lose it, and Empress energy would feel no qualms about it. Now the water is the seven of swords. We're just gonna keep moving. That is like really interesting though. The Mage of Water, a cool fountain bubbles in the center of the room, and the Mage of Water stands beside it. The mage allows anyone to drink from the fountain. Drinking from the fountain causes a creature to regain 70 hit points, removes one level of exhaustion, and removes any diseases affecting the creature. The mage is a calm, is a calm, empathetic being and offers as much wisdom as she can in response to any questions. If the mage senses a need, she may offer a decanter of endless water as a gift. The door in the queen's room is unlocked. She's clarified by the Seven of Swords. I think the first thing that stands out immediately, she's calm and empathetic and offers as much wisdom as she can in response to any questions. I think this is like there's a difference between what the water of the Empress knows and what the water of the Empress is able to tell. The water of the Empress is only able to give so much, and it's very almost like High Priestess energy, where she can't say or she can't reveal everything. Because if she did, she just can't, for whatever reason, she can't reveal. So this is almost speaking more of the things that the Mage of Water, that the water of the Empress does not say. It's speaking of the things that she can't reveal almost a little bit more. The decanter of endless water, very Aquarian. This stoppered flask sloshes when shaken as if it contains water. The decanter weighs 2 pounds. You can use an action to remove the stopper and speak one of three command words, whereupon an amount of fresh water or salt water, your choice, pours out of the flask. The water stops pouring out at the start of your next turn. So you can say stream for 1 gallon of water, fountain for 5 gallons, and geyser, 30 gallons of water that gushes forth in a geyser 30 feet long and 1 foot wide. As a bonus action, while holding the decanter, you can aim the geyser at a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The target must succeed a DC 13 strength saving throw or take 1d4 bludgeoning damage and fall prone. Instead of a creature, you can target an object that isn't being worn or carried and that weighs no more than 200 pounds. The object is either knocked over or pushed up to 15 feet away from you. Now, she was sitting by the fountain, and I feel like that speaks to this again, too. So that's 1/6. I don't know what percentage that is. A fifth is 20%, so less than 20%. The queen stands by a fountain. The fountain is less than 20% of the full capabilities of this decanter of endless water. And again, I feel like it's speaking to almost like the things that she can't say, or the because she can only reveal so much. And maybe it's because it's wisdom. Ace of Wands, this is the first time a card, I think the Nine of Cups revealed itself. Ace of Wands, top of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Swords. So this is like a 12, which is like Hangman. We got the XII of the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords. We got the XIII of Justice and the Two of Coins. And then the XIV of Temperance. With the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords, again, it speaks to the energy of only so much can be revealed, only so much can be said. The entirety of something with the wheel, like the entirety of the wheel, cannot be revealed. And I wonder if it's because the Ace of Wands is here. It could be like it would be a violation of free will or choice. Would we really have free will if we knew exactly how everything would turn out? On one hand, it's like, yes, because we would be choosing. But on the other hand, it may be free will. I don't know. It feels like it gets like kind of gray. It's like, yes, because we would be choosing, but no, because we would know. Like if you gave someone a choice between something decent to very good and something very, very, very bad, is that really a choice? I think, too, at this point, there are certain things that can't be said because it's weird, but it's like it's because of, I don't even really know how to communicate it. Besides, it's like it's the reason why a parent may not tell their 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old child what to do. It's in recognition of their adultness. It's in recognition of it being a choice and decision that they need to make for themselves. And it's something that's almost like that. But when it comes to the divine, that is not the all, that is not the creator. It's like there is a recognition that it's like if you have God and then you have angels, or if you have the supreme creator and then you have a deity that is not the supreme creator, it's like the angel, the deity, recognizing that the will of God or the will of the supreme being is beyond even their knowing. And there may be something that the supreme being put inside of you for you to do, or for you to come into a maturity of knowing. And so for them to tell you what to do could go against what is for you to do. Especially at this point, especially like this lies even further than being able to create things into reality, being able to paint things into the world. Beyond that, there isn't, and maybe it's just a limitation of guidance, sort of in general. Because beyond that, it's like it's between us and the creator, it's between us and that supreme being. At that point, the Empress is like this is a matter that does not involve my court or my nation, my empire. So cool. That's the final message from this little break, I guess, from things. And I'm just going to leave it there. I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and where you find. And next time you see me, I'll have a lot more cards. So we'll see. Let's see. Am I even going to get a final card? I'll get the tops. Put this over here. So we have the Two of Swords and the Nine of Cups. This is the shimmering veil to me. This could be a different way of perceiving. There are things on the other side. I mean, that's like not, that's easy. It's like there are things on the other side of the veil that are more so felt than they are seen. On the other side of the veil exists, rather than something like thinking, it's more so something like knowing. It's a way of being, or a way of navigating, that is completely foreign to the way that we be and navigate on earth. You know, I don't know. Thanks for stopping by, Holly and Kirsty. Bye bye.